We've all been in that one restaurant that has the glass ketchup bottles and it makes our lives really, really difficult. I mean, if ketchup acted like a normal fluid, it would be fine. But since ketchup doesn't act like a normal fluid, it's not. The reason ketchup doesn't act like a normal fluid is because it's not a normal fluid. Ketchup is actually a non-Newtonian fluid. A non-Newtonian fluid is a fluid that basically does not follow Newton's law of fluids, which basically states that fluids will have a constant viscosity no matter how you strain them. Viscosity basically means how thick a fluid is. So when you have water, it is a lot less viscous than syrup. So like I stated earlier, a non-Newtonian fluid is different from a normal fluid. A normal fluid stays the same viscosity under different amounts of stress, but a non-Newtonian fluid changes viscosity depending on how much stress you put into it. For example, silly putty. When you squish it, it conforms, but when you try to punch it, it doesn't. It acts more rubbery when you apply more stress. That's the same reason why you can stretch it, and you can also snap it. You can put it on the floor and it'll splooge out into something flat, or you can bounce it. Some other examples of non-Newtonian fluids are cornstarch in water and quicksand. There are basically two different types of non-Newtonian fluids, a shear thickening fluid and a shear thinning fluid. Under stress, a shear thinning fluid will become thinner, and the opposite is true for a shear thickening fluid. Under stress, it becomes thicker. As a shear thinning fluid, this is why ketchup doesn't like to come out of glass bottles until you shake it, and then it does, but way too much. Because it's a shear thickening fluid, oobleck does something really weird on a subwoofer. When you get the volume loud enough, the oobleck will actually solidify and actually form peaks on the subwoofer instead of being a liquid like it normally is. Quicksand, which is basically just sand and water, is another example of a shear thinning fluid. When stress is applied to it, it becomes thinner, which means it looks solid and feels solid as long as you don't step on it, and then when you do, you'll sink into it. There's a third, less common type of non-Newtonian fluid, and that is the Bingham plastic. A Bingham plastic is something that you might not even realize is a non-Newtonian fluid, such as mayonnaise or toothpaste. Basically, they have the ability to hold peaks when still, but when they're stressed, they become liquid again and take the shape of their container. This chart here shows different rates of viscosity between different types of fluids. In red is shear thinning fluids, in blue is shear thickening fluids. In green is the normal Newtonian fluids, and in yellow is the Bingham plastics. The chart shows the relationship between stress applied and viscosity. If you want more of my content, you can subscribe right here, and more videos right here. Thanks for watching.